Well, I'll shoot you a text and let you know.
Okay, I am back. I archived that segment of Chris Christie. So I have a fresh one going. And I'll do that again after Bobbie Jindall gets done, archive his. That way, if there are any important highlights that need to be grabbed, you can grab them. And especially if there's a slip, like Christy said, and you can blast those out. Yes. There may be a little more smoke, in a sense, later on when Jindall gets up here.
Not a problem. I'm not making it. You have the privilege.
Oh, the clouds are. I think the clouds are going to be coming and going all throughout this time. So can't make up my mind. Do I need my shades? Do I ditch the shades? You know? Bobbie Jindall supporters are beginning to filter in. There are some who have stayed through the whole first two. They're staying. Protesters yelling citizenship now are still over there.
Here you go, man. Thank you.
They're saying these are people, referring to this undocumented immigrants, children of undocumented immigrants. There's a guy just passing out something from the Jindall campaign. Yeah, there's a nice breeze now. And for those just joining me, this is Occupier Kaling coming to you live from the Des Moines Register Soapbox at the Iowa State Fair. First, we had Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee, and she was heckled by a few Republicans, but more loudly by those who are calling for more Democratic presidential debates, and specifically for Hillary Clinton to not only allow for, but participate in and make sure that all of the Democratic candidates get to participate in debates. And then after that, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who did a Q&A for his total time. I'm sorry I could not get the questions. He repeated some of them he didn't. So the Chris Christie signs are coming down off the stage. And Jindall supporters are making their way in. I don't think they will adorn the stage with anything. I don't know. Now the protesters over there is using the Occupy chant. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Now they're going back to citizenship now. I was just taking a few more pictures. The People United will never be defeated is the chant that they're yelling now. I don't know if they will yell it in Spanish, but if they do, they would say, El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. That would be what they would yell if they yelled the Spanish version. I'm not moving from the spot because I don't want to lose it. There's still probably a couple hundred over here. I'm just switching off in between the different chants that they're doing. Oh, there's someone with Jindall signs. Someone put one on the stage. It'll be interesting to see how they react to him. And earlier during Christie's Q&A session, some people decided to approach the stage in a manner that would be like civil disobedience. And they were escorted out of the area by the state patrol. I don't know if they were arrested or if they were just simply booted from this particular area. I don't know what they... What the Christie people did, they just put them up on the rail or like stuck them on the hay or something.
Yeah, I do that.
That's what they did. So she has placed the Bobbie Jindall signs.
I know.
I'm just popping off a few more pictures. Oh, they fell down. You might have to find a way to secure them or just...
Signs up there.
Yeah.
We're waiting on tape. The Christie people had tape. I know, yeah, we're waiting on tape.
Yep, that was... See, it is 11:35, so I'm not sure if it will begin in 10 minutes at 11:45, or it could be. That's what I'm guessing. And a little difference in the crowd. I'm looking over at where those protesters are at the edge. I can see them holding their signs, but I think they've laid off the chanting, at least for now. I think they're going to start it up again when Bobbie Jindall gets on the stage. Again, for those just joining me, this is Occupier Kaylin coming to you live from the Des Moines Register Soapbox at the Iowa State Fair. We're awaiting Governor Bobbie Jindall, who is the third person on the schedule for today. Today's the big Soapbox day with 4 speakers. Jindall will be the third, and then I can't think of the name right now. I should have dug it up before I came out here. I should have wrote it down so I could give it to you, but the 4th speaker after Jindall will be a former commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. And it'll be very interesting to see what he speaks on, how the crowd reacts to him, if he's going to endorse a candidate or if he's going to just do some policy stuff or what, who knows. Yeah, now Bobbie Jindall's next. And then the 4th is a former commissioner of the IRS. But I can't think of the name. I should have wrote it down before I came out here.
Mark Everson.
Oh, Mark Everson. There you go. Thanks a lot back there. Someone yelled Mark Everson is the name. The former commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. So if any of you care to do some digging on that guy, that might be fun. Find out some dirt on him.
Not a legitimate compared to others. I know, I mean, it's just an interesting question. Why everybody talks about 17 candidates and here's this 18. Well, there are lots of other things going on now.
Excuse me, sorry.
The last time I was out here, I was not live streaming at the time, but I was out here when Representative Steve King was out here. Yeah.
I was just wondering, you know, of any of these candidates, Democrat, Republican, are there any of them that you really respect? I mean, that you really...
I'm here not only recording their speeches, but the crowd.
Right.
So I'm capturing the whole thing, crowd reaction, you know, if there is any protest activity, you know, that sort of thing. I'm just capturing the whole thing.
Right.
You know, so, I was out here, I'm staying for all 4 of them, so I'm not leaving until the last guy gets done.
That's great. So, do you have a blog or something?
No, I'm just a live streamer.
Okay. So, that's cool.
Yeah, so I use an app on my phone. I'm burning data because you can't get Wi-Fi out here. And I just send it up straight up to the internet. I don't need a big thing like those guys back there doing live. I just need cell signal, and that's it.
Great. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a few years, and it's a great way to document events that the other media doesn't do. You know.
Right. So, how many events do you go to in a month?
It varies. Because I ride the city buses, I don't drive. I'm limited into when and where I can go.
Okay. So,
but
try to go to as many as possible. Huh?
Yeah, if I can find scoop on it, and
well, I mean, it'll helps with that, you know.
Yeah. Well, I get scoop from activists. I get scoop from just others, you know.
Oh yeah, I've met you before. Yeah.
Well, I've seen you down here quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I come down here, watch you go.
A couple guys getting reacquainted with each other. It's pretty cool.
Canada County, been up there. I see you up there in Canada County.
The sun's coming back out, so it's a good thing I've got my shades still on.
Yeah, it is. What do you do now or anything?
I didn't want to give that guy any hints that I'm actually not cool with the Republicans. So I kind of gave him the unbiased thing.
Some of those issues, what I do, get more policy for
We don't remember Judy Harlan up there, the treasurer. Okay, my wife was her deputy. Lori. She was one of the secretaries for the Democratic. When they met every month, minutes and that.
it's coming together.
So I was at all those meetings there. So my wife ran it.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun to see all the kids down there.
Yeah.
What they have to say, if there's any demonstration.
It's just side conversations on either side of me about, do they support this one or not, or undecided.
Everybody that's up there. Yeah, Walter.
They haven't,
that wasn't as bad as what
people haven't made up their mind yet.
I have a lot of fun. I come down and I go to the fair, and then at night I go to entertainment. And every day I do something.
There's a guy using his iPad to shoot pictures, just like I'm using my tablet to shoot pictures.
I enjoy just watching the people and stuff like that. And this year is special, especially with all these speakers. Well, nice talking to you. Yeah, I'll be back. Yeah.
There's a woman passing out the Jindall stickers. Okay. Yeah, sneak out through there. I'm not sure if anyone else is here live streaming or shooting live video besides me. I think the other cameras here are just recording for later editing and broadcast. But unlike them, I don't edit. The only edits I do is if I have to change the title on my computer at home. If I don't have a title that shows up on a video segment when I get home to check my Ustream page at home.
Be like, my name's up there, be like, I knew it. They just bring that up.
I think when I do get home, after this, since I'm segmenting these instead of just running in one continuous stream for all four of these speakers, I think when I get home, I will add the individual speaker names so that you can search by them. And when I put them up on YouTube, they'll be associated with the specific speaker, and people can search for that if they're doing YouTube searches for an individual speaker name. But I'll still keep the other title that I had before. I'll just add the speaker name when I get home. Because when I do titles at home on my Ustream videos, I can add more text than I can here, just doing it from my phone or my tablet. Jindall campaign volunteers are soliciting supporters, people who would either be willing to join the campaign, be willing to put signs in their yards, or do other things, just like they're all doing. I'm still checking the chat.
Oh, do we? I'm sorry. Right past you.
Packing out? Yeah.
I'll try not to. No, you're fine. I'm glad you're here.
The crowd size looks about the same as it was.
Thank you, sir.
Go home. Just haven't done that yet.
Looks like most of the media is still here, been here from the beginning. It was related to the hog confinements, the crates that the hogs are put in that do not allow them to move at all. That's what it's related to. There was a reference to the animal rights activist who was booted out of here by the state troopers because he hopped the hay bale in front of the stage, and he was wanting to ask Governor Christie about agricultural animal rights and humane treatment of livestock.
Thank you very much. Hey, what, I'm going to put this on. Take it with me.
Would you like a sign?
That's why we came up here.
You might have to go around the front to go over there. Or maybe not.
I guess they're.
It's in the courthouse now. Has that changed much?
Yes. This boy is a child of Jindall supporter. Oop, that's okay. Sorry, didn't mean to be sitting on your spaghetti. I was sitting on a Ford and a guy moved it, so I apologize for sitting on a spaghetti. If I need to move, just tell me and I can move. There's another.
Sure, I will take it.
More kids are working the crowd for the Jindall campaign. Indoctrinating them young.
Yeah, finally drove in last night. Did you? Yeah, it's a long drive, but it's good. It is a long drive, so you got it all done in one
Well, it
shot.
looks like this will be starting around
You
noon.
moved in 2 days, but
So it is about 8 minutes to noon, something like that,
that's nice, awesome.
according to my watch.
Oils,
I have my watch a few minutes ahead of actual time. That way I don't miss buses, so I think that's what time this one will start.
During for the Soapbox, so did Christy had a question that they do press conference inside right after he out here talked about wind energy and solar. Wait, the still was close? Yeah. He was at 11. Jindall's got you've already got it. I've already got video like this. Just kind of hang around in case he says something. Yeah. That was good to find out. Are you just spending the day here, or are you coming to this? Well, I mean, I'm coming through. My friend actually works for the Iowa Paper Press, and she's here with the green shirt. Their whole thing is trying to, she's down there with the orange glasses. I don't know if you ever met her. The 000. Yeah. I wonder what that is about. It's, they're just trying to get candidates to sign a pledge for taking money out of politics. She got a question in to Christy. Yeah, she's actually pretty good about that, I feel. I had her, there's one interesting one that she always goes for the picture and the fan, and then she would talk to Cruz for a long time. Yeah, I didn't hear it. I was on with the protest, and I had this filming here. But there was also another campaign finance person. Set the guy down and called him the wise guy. He had the corn dog. And he was waving at him. Yeah, I didn't know there was another question because I was over there and couldn't hear. So when I asked him in there why he shut down the person, I didn't see the corn dog yet. I just heard the wise guy response. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they do the press conference in there. I was able to get my question in there and get it on tape. So. Yeah, I was too late coming back to immigration. It's going to get hot, I think.
Yeah, well, that may be why we're going to have some storms later, you know.
That's what they say. This afternoon they'll be coming through.
Yep. But well after this is done. So.
Is this your last one for today?
I'm sorry?
Are you following any candidates around?
No, I'm a local. I'm a local live streamer. A live streamer.
I see. They were getting 9%.
Yeah, I live stream. I'm live now. So I just burn data and use an app on my phone, and it's like a broadcast without the heavy equipment.
There is these nuts around.
Don't need no satellite dish. Just need a cell tower with a good signal, and And I'm on air.
That's cool. It's a high school, isn't it?
Yeah, the filed in Iowa.
Yeah. He's a kid now, yeah. 15 years old.
Well, it is actually starting to warm up out here.
They had a long tent for it last. Anything exciting was happening about the office? No. We're quiet again because we built our interns went back to school. Oh yeah. Yeah, and with you gone and Susan wasn't here, now she's been back. Yeah. No, it's coming back around, I guess. Hey, does Jim Olsen never talk to us from the
I just still pick up conversations that are happening around there.
And Susan's going to be the moderator for the event, and hopefully she can switch to using the cover up the environment. And I'm going to try to use that, and hopefully we can get a lot of people to sign up to interested in a teacher op-ed or some sort of advocacy around either the
While we wait for Governor Jindall to come out, again, if you can kick me a little something through my GoFundMe account or through PayPal, I'd certainly appreciate it. I'm burning big time data doing this, and I got more stuff to stream. So go to GoFundMe.com/OccupierKaylin. That's KAYLYNN. Again, www.gofundme.com/OccupierKaylin. Or if you cannot access GoFundMe or you do not have any of the currencies that it supports, you can go through PayPal. www.paypal.com, and in the send money to line, enter the email address strainsop@aol.com. Again, www.paypal.com, and in the send money to line, enter the email address strainsop@aol.com. That will help me cover the cost of my live streaming and broadcasting, so I can continue to bring you these events live and unedited, totally raw, unlike the mainstream media that surrounds me.
See you at the office on Monday. Okay.
I don't run them through a propaganda blender.
For sure, this bale of straw with you for here for a minute.
That's okay. So I'd greatly appreciate your support. If you cannot donate, then spread these sites around. Let people know that I'm here in Des Moines and I could use some support. I would like to do more broadcasting at home, but I just don't have the computer power necessary to do that. I cannot hold a stable broadcast on my desktop computer, and my laptop, it doesn't have the correct operating system that would allow for it. And I might not be able to upgrade the RAM to more than 2 gigs. But I would greatly appreciate your support, and blast my channels around. Let other people know that there's stuff happening in Iowa. And after today's events, there will be an event with Des Moines Waterworks head Bill Stowe. And he'll be talking about the lawsuit that he filed against 3 Iowa counties for violating environmental laws and all the runoff that is occurring upriver on the 2 rivers that feed the Des Moines water system. Des Moines and Raccoon rivers are polluted so bad that Des Moines Waterworks has to run an expensive nitrate removal system, and it is an old system, and they would like to upgrade it, but still rather not use it at all. but we have no choice to use it. Otherwise, we can't drink the water. We can't use it to cook with. I wouldn't give it to my cat if they couldn't take the nitrates or other crap out. So that will be on the 25th. And then the 29th, there is a sidewalk chalking event.
I don't know that he is going to be here all day long.
That one will be at 9 o'clock a.m. Central. And there will even be a table where you can actually make chalk yourself. So that will be up on the 29th. Varied Industries.
My guess might be that it would be more. But they've got, and it's, I think, they're on one side or the other.
The crowd is growing. More people are filtering in. Media is getting their stuff set up to start their shooting. There's others asking if Bobbie Jindall would be here for the rest of the day at the fair, or if he's just going to talk and then run.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Des Moines Register Political Soapbox. Our next speaker is Governor Bobbie Jindall of Louisiana, who of course is seeking the Republican nomination for the presidency. Mr. Jindall first served in the U.S. House 2 terms. He was elected governor in 2008, re-elected in 2012. He's prevented by term limits from seeking a 3rd term. Governor Jindall, welcome to the Register Soapbox.
Thank you all very, very much. And thank you so much for having me. Folks, I want to tell you what I think this election is all about. It is all about saving the American dream and the idea of America. Look, every time President Obama speaks, it's all about redistribution. It's all about government spending. It's all about government dependence. I don't know about you, but that is not the American dream that our parents taught us. I want to briefly tell you my parents' story and then tell you what we have got to do to fight and save the American dream. You know, my parents, they have lived the American dream. My dad is one of 9 children. First and the only one of the family to get past the 5th grade. Grew up in a house without electricity, without running water. Now I know because we heard those stories every single day growing up. But here is the amazing thing. Over almost 45 years ago, the first time my parents got on a plane, they came halfway across the world to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now, they had never visited. They didn't know anybody who had been here and gone back and could tell them what it was like. And yet they left their families, their friends. My mom was pregnant with me. I try to explain to my kids, you couldn't Google back then. There was no online. They were coming to an idea as much as they were coming to a place. They were coming to the idea of freedom and opportunity. They were coming to the American dream. Now, when they got here, my mom went to school at LSU. My dad, that's right.
It's Louisiana State University.
My dad, now he didn't come here to be dependent on the government. He came here to get a job. Got his first job calling through the Yellow Pages. 6 months later, I was born. I was what you would politely call a pre-existing condition when I was born. Now, there was no Obamacare. There was no government contracts or forms. I love what my dad did next. He went to the doctor, shook his hand, and promised to send him a check every month until he paid that bill in full. And that's exactly what he did. That's what we used to do in this country. I asked my dad, how does it work to pay for a baby on layaway? I mean, if you skip a payment, do they take the baby back? He said, you were such a bad little baby, we would have sent you back. The reason I tell you that story, my parents came here to chase the American dream. They caught the American dream. They lived the American dream. I want my children and grandchildren to live that same dream. And while I'm talking about my parents, I might as well go ahead and say this as well. When my parents came to this country, they came to this country legally when they came to this country. Now, folks, an immigration policy can either make a country stronger or weaker. A dumb immigration policy makes a country weaker, and that is what we've got today. It is clear to me. We need to stop talking about it. We don't need a 1,000-page bill. We don't need a comprehensive approach. It is time to secure the border once and for all. Now look, we could get it done in 6 months if we were serious.
Protesters have fired up their citizenship.
The reality is you've got big business interests in D.C. that don't want the border secure. They want amnesty. They pay for protesters. They try to silence free speech. I'm here to tell you, we are going to stand up to the big business interests. We don't care. The big business interests can buy as many t-shirts and banners as they want. We are going to secure our border. We are a nation of laws. The Republican Party is not the party of big government. We should not become the party of big business either. And let me tell you this. It is time to put an end to sanctuary cities. It's fine that Congress wants to defund them. Let's do more. I've got a partners in crime package. Let's hold those mayors and city councilmen criminally responsible as accessories for the crimes committed by people who shouldn't be here in the first place. Let's lock them up. Look, the left, they don't want us to be a melting pot. Here's the ridiculous thing. They think that it's politically incorrect to say if you want to come here, you should want to be an American. I'm here to tell you, the folks that want to come here, if you want to come to our country, come legally. Learn English. Adopt our values, and when you get here, roll up your sleeves and get to work. But I'm tired of the hyphenated Americans. We're not African Americans. We're not Asian Americans. We're not rich Americans. We're not poor Americans. We're all Americans. And it's time to stand up to this nonsense. The divider-in-chief does not want us. He wants us to continue. The left says it is politically incorrect. I think it is foolish. If you want to come to this country, you should want to be an American. If you don't want to be an American, don't come here. Nobody is forcing them to come here in the first place. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Immigration without assimilation. Immigration without integration. That's not immigration. Immigration without assimilation is invasion, and we must not let that happen in America. See the contrast, see what is happening in Europe. Second, third generation immigrants that don't consider themselves parts of those countries. We must not let that happen in America. And by the way, we shouldn't give anybody freedoms to come here and use those freedoms to undermine the freedoms for other people. It is time for America to have a smart immigration policy. It's time for us to say, if you want to come here, be an American, learn the language, adopt our values, and get to work.
Work is not possible if there are no jobs.
And again, the big business interests, they can send them on as many junkets as they want. They can try to interrupt as many speeches as they want. They can buy as many t-shirts as they want. It is time to stand up to big businesses and say we're taking our country back. That gets me to my next point. As Republicans, as conservatives, we've got to do something different. It is time for us to embrace our own principles. Now, what do I mean by that? You heard Jeb Bush say that we've got to be willing to lose the primary in order to win the general election. Well, folks, I disagree with that. Let me translate that for you. That is the establishment telling us to hide our beliefs, telling us to try to get the left and the media to like us again.
What they're yelling now.
I'm here to tell you that never works. If we do that again, we will lose again, and we will deserve to lose again. It is time for us to embrace our own principles. You know, when did the conservatives decide to give up fighting for our beliefs? When did we decide to quit on the American dream? Conservatism is not dead in America. It is simply dead in Washington, D.C. It is time for us to stand up to the permanent political insiders. They took the majority last year. What changed in D.C.? Nothing. They told us they would fight amnesty. They told us they would repeal Obamacare. Nothing is changed. The reality is the leaders in D.C., they were happy the Supreme Court ruled against us on Obamacare. They're afraid of winning. Only in D.C. is losing a good thing. I'm here to tell you this. They are scared to fight for freedom. They are scared to fight against a new government entitlement. We can't afford what we've got. They're afraid to fight against universal coverage. They're afraid to fight for less government dependence. It is time for us to stand up and take our party back. We need to force term limits down their throats. It is time for us to put an end to this nonsense of career, lifetime, permanent politicians. Let's take America back. Think how different our country would be if they had to live under the same rules they applied to the rest of us. It is time for us to get part-time, term-limited legislators, and let's pay them for every day they stay out of D.C. rather than every day they go to D.C. We need to shrink our government. Now, folks, I want to say something that is politically incorrect. The idea of America is slipping away. The idea of America is slipping away right in front of us. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that many Americans are tempted to take America for granted. My parents would never take America for granted. Every day they give thanks they were blessed to be born in the greatest country in the history of the world. But look at what we're seeing. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, they're trying to turn the American dream into the European nightmare. Give Bernie Sanders credit. At least he's honest enough to call himself a socialist. These other two aren't any better, they just won't admit it. But the idea of America is slipping away from us. $18 trillion of debt. Planned Parenthood using our taxpayer dollars to tear apart babies and sell their organs across this country. Our government creating an entitlement program we can't afford the ones we've got today. Our president who's made war on trans fats and a truce on Iran, the greatest sponsor of terrorism in the world. Our president who's so politically correct, he can't even say the words radical Islamic terrorism. How is he going to beat our enemies if he can't even define our enemies? Our president who won't stand with Israel. Our president who time and time again grows government. He's got the EPA regulating the water in our backyard. We've got now a bigger, more expansive, more expensive, more intrusive federal government than ever before. The idea of America is slipping away. And that is why it is time for us to stand up and take it back. I don't know about you, I'm not going to let the idea of America slip away as long as I've got breath. I will do everything I can to get the idea of America back. The idea of America has generated more wealth than any other civilization in the history of the world. It has done more for freedom than any other civilization in the history of the world. It has done more to fight for the defenseless than any other civilization in the history of the world. We must not let it slip away. Shame on those fools in D.C. who are giving it away. Shame on us if we allow them to do that. I'm here to tell you, there are a lot of great speakers running for president. You got a lot of folks.
Yeah, they are yelling, we are America.
I'm not the best looking candidate. My daddy wasn't president. I don't have a reality TV show. But I've got the backbone, I've got the bandwidth, I've got the experience to get this job done. And I'll be ready on the first day we can't afford the next commander-in-chief will be across the table from a Putin or from an Ayatollah. He better not need a teleprompter, talking points, or a great staff. We need a president who can do this job on the first day. I'm asking you to believe again. I'm asking you to fight with me with God's grace. We can rescue the idea of America before it slips away. But we cannot waste a minute. I'm asking you to believe again today and to join up today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. And I'll say in closing, those folks sent out here by the big business interests, the folks that want open borders and amnesty, if you want freedom, follow the laws. Yeah. Do what my parents did. In the history of the world, but look, they can be excused. We've got a president who doesn't follow the law, the Supreme Court that doesn't follow the Constitution. We've got Hillary Clinton that thinks the laws don't apply to her, so no wonder they think the laws don't apply to them. If you want freedom, if you love America, follow the laws, learn English, adopt our values, and get to work. God bless you. We got time for questions. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Governor. What is your plan to provide safe, reliable, affordable electricity in the future?
Safe, reliable, affordable electricity. Look, we've got to do all of the above. This president wants energy to be scarce and expensive. We've got to have solar. We've got to have ethanol. We've got to have wind. We've got to have oil. We've got to have gas. We have to have clean coal. We have to have nuclear. We have to have it all, and we've got to get the EPA out of the way. Let's be honest. They want energy to be scarce and expensive, so we're dependent on government. He bragged in his State of the Union about increasing oil and gas production. It's like the rooster taking credit for the sun coming up. Production is going down on federal lands and waters, up on private lands and waters. We need affordable energy. We can start by getting the EPA out of the way. Yes.
How do you create more good jobs? How do you define good jobs?
Good jobs are jobs that pay well, that offer benefits. The way you create more good jobs, we can't have the highest tax rate in the world. Got to lower the tax rate. Secondly, you got to shrink the government. Look, you either grow the government economy or the American economy. They're mutually exclusive. Every Republican talks about cutting government. I'm the only one that has done it. There's not two, there is one. I cut my budget 26%. We've got 30,000 fewer state bureaucrats than the day I took office. Third, you've got to have affordable energy. I've got an energy independence plan. Not only do you bring exploration jobs, you bring manufacturing jobs back as well. We also need to repeal Obamacare, all the uncertainty and the regulations that are getting in the way of hiring and expanding. Finally, we've got to roll back this regulatory state. You know, they don't even do cost-benefit analyses when they do these regulations. Congress needs to do its job. It needs to vote on these regulations before these unelected bureaucrats strangle our economy. Folks, we can still dominate this century, but we got to get government out of the way if we want to create good-paying jobs. Yes, sir. A great question about the rising influence of Russia and China. What can we do to maintain our influence? We've got to stop hollowing out our military. Look, this president thinks weakness is the key to peace. Weakness is provocative to evil. It never works. You've got Putin in eastern Ukraine, you've got China ascendant in Asia, you've got ISIS across the Middle East, because he has hollowed out our military and tried to retreat from the world. Reagan understood peace through strength actually works. I never want our military in a fair fight. I want our military to dominate any fight we ever send them into. And it is unfair to send them into a fight without the resources they need. Yes, sir. The question was, how do we spread the Republican message to the youth? Look, I think a lot of young people, two things I would ask any voter, but especially our young voters. One, are you really better off than before President Obama got elected? Your premiums didn't go down $2,500. Those good-paying jobs he promised didn't materialize. All the things he said the world would be safer. Now he's telling us he can't beat ISIS in a generation. It'll be a generational conflict. So the first question asked is, are you really better off? And then secondly, I'd say, who is smarter? Who knows better how to run your life? You or the government? The left thinks you're not smart enough to buy your own insurance. They don't think you're smart enough to have First Amendment religious liberty rights. They don't think you're smart enough to have Second Amendment gun rights. They don't think you're smart enough to decide how your kids should be educated. They don't think you're smart enough to spend your own money. They don't think you're smart enough, if you live in New York, to be able to know how many big gulps you should be drinking. And by the way, I suspect Michelle Obama would have a heart attack based on all the food we're going to have to eat. So I would ask, who do you trust to live your lives, you or the government? And I will say this to the president. I will defend my children from microwave popcorn, Oreos, and deep-fried candy bars if he will do his job as Commander-in-Chief and defend us from radical Islamic terrorists. I think I heard the question. Look, I'm not for discrimination against anybody, but I also don't think the government should be intruding on the matters. Like right now, what I worry about is you've got an all-out assault against Christian business owners. I think there are Christian florists, I think there are Christian musicians and caterers that are being forced to choose between following their conscience and being able to operate their business. The real discrimination we see today are against individuals that want to continue to believe in marriage being between a man and a woman. As a Christian, I don't think a court can redefine the definition of marriage. I think I signed an executive order in Louisiana saying we won't discriminate against business owners or individuals who have a traditional view of marriage. Now the ACLU is suing us. I think that's hypocritical. They were for religious freedom before they were against it. So look, I think we're all created equal in God's eyes. I'm not for discrimination. I think the discrimination that's happening today is against Christian business owners and individuals that want to follow their conscience. Yes, sir.
Yes. The day you announced before the presidency, you said we should abolish the Supreme Court. How can you, if you got elected, how can you take the oath of office to uphold the Constitution of the United States if you think we should abolish it?
Yeah, so I was speaking, look, the question was, I was here, it was actually a couple of days after I announced for president. I was in Iowa. They came out with their decision on marriage the same week they came out with the decision on marriage, on Obamacare. And I was asked by a reporter, what should we do about the court? And I said pretty glibly, I'll be honest, look, I say what I think whenever I'm asked. I said, well, look, if the court can't be bothered to read the Constitution, according to Scalia, that words no longer have meanings, they can't read a dictionary. I said, if they're going to become a public opinion poll instead of following the Constitution, maybe we could save a couple of bucks and I'll get rid of the court altogether. And I know the left didn't like that. Hillary came here and attacked that. So I've been willing, in the spirit of compromise, I'm willing just to get rid of 2/3 of the court and keep 3 of them. Because 3 of them will actually follow the Constitution. I'm sorry, this is the last question. Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you. She said a lot of the people she works with says every politician's a liar, and she says the question is, well, one of them's got to be a good one. She's asked me, am I a good one?
The answer is no.
Let me say this. I think that there's a reason the folks you talked about say every politician's a liar. We are tired of politicians that say one thing and do another. Just once, I'd like them to fight for what they believe in. They've got an opportunity now. Look, they rolled over on amnesty. They've rolled over on Obamacare in D.C. They better take a stand against funding Planned Parenthood. How in the world can our tax dollars go for these barbaric activities? And so I think there is rightful skepticism. I think the best thing I can tell you about me is I do what I say. Now, look, not everybody here likes it. I said I'm going to support the rule of law. They clearly don't like it. I've said I was going to cut my state government without raising taxes. Clearly, we've done it. And so I've said that I'm staying in support of religious liberty and traditional marriage. We've got a woman here that disagrees with that as well. So the best thing I can tell you about me, I will tell you what I believe, I will do what I say, and I am willing to give everything I've got to fight to protect the idea of America. Folks, if you're looking for somebody to manage the slow decline of this country, go vote for somebody else. If you want somebody that's going to fight to save the idea of America, to rescue the American dream from becoming the European nightmare, to take us off the path to socialism, believe again. Go to BobbieJindall.com. We are building a movement. We're going to win Iowa. We're going to win in the national election. We're going to take our country back, and we're going to secure our border and enforce our laws. Thank you all very, very much.
that was Governor Bobbie Jindall of Louisiana. He just finished his speech. He took a few questions. There's the protesters over there doing their thing. I wish there was another way I could be both over there and in this spot at the same time, but that's not going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and archive this. So if any of you who can highlight want to take something from the video, if you're watching on Ustream, if you can see something that you want to highlight and make it go viral, I'll go ahead and archive this, set it for the final one, and I'll be back in a minute.